Joined by Cammy Bell. Cammy, thanks a lot for coming on, mate. How are you doing?
Very well, mate. Yourself?
Aye, very good, thanks. I'm just want to start off by asking you your early football memories.
Early football memories were, again, probably what most young guys would have been, was playing in the park with their mates, school football. Really enjoyed it, and started then. I got into Anafleck, was kind of my first sort of my club that I joined and played sort of organised football. So we played 7-a-side at the start, and then I went to 11-a-side. So that was kind of first early memories of football, going and watching local side and Rangers now and again. So yeah, really enjoyed football as a kid. It was something, again, you don't see it as much nowadays. Playing on the streets, on the curbs, playing Kirby, a lot of street games of football where for me, you learnt your skills and your talent. So that was where I kind of learnt, just playing with your friends and enjoying it. And yeah, it was really enjoyable back then.
Coming through at Annan, as you said, and the South, what's your best memories of coming through at those two clubs?
Yeah, so Annan, again, I kind of joined Annan probably about, I would think it would be about 11 or 12 when it kind of first started to get organised football, and we were playing local teams round about Dumfriesshire area, all the way to kind of Stranraer, Dumfries and Galloway League. So so again, it was competitive. We had a really good team. We had some good players locally, some young talented players. So it was great. And again, you're playing with your friends, so it's really enjoyable. My dad was kind of the coach as well, so he helped out always. He worked for BT at the time, so I always remember boys jumping in the back of the BT van, and thankfully he's left there now, so he'll not get the sack. But again, back then that's what it was. And again, putting the nets up before the game, so you'd have 5 or 6 lads. He would go around, and again, boys that maybe weren't from such a affluent background and had tough times in their life. So he would go and make sure they got out of their beds and make sure they had football boots and all their strips and stuff. So the boys absolutely loved it as well. You'd jump in the back of the van, you'd go and set the nets up with a black tape and tape it to the old football goals. So listen, really old school sort of memories of the way that I kind of got brought up and learnt sort of my trade, I would say, because it wasn't just turning up where like everything set up for you. You had to go, and as I say, we were there if it was an 11 o'clock kickoff, you were there at 9 o'clock, making sure the pitch was set up. Again, not the glamorous things, checking the pitch for dog poop and stuff like that. So again, these are all things you had to do as a kid back then. So, but listen, the way that it taught you some lessons and the friends that you made out of it. And again, as I say, like really appreciated like how much my dad put into it, because he did a lot for a lot of the kids round about here. And not just him, all the coaches at that gave their time up for nothing and really made it enjoyable. And then obviously from there I kind of moved on to Queen of the South, and again it was just obviously a level up. It was more organised again, coaching and stuff. You were training a lot more at nights. Most nights of the week I would be training. Thankfully I kind of got to train with the first team goalies, because I was a goalkeeper. It kind of, you've got that specialised position that I used to go in and train with a goalkeeper who was Queen of the South goalkeeper at the time, Davy Matheson, and a guy called Robert McComb. They were the two kind of goalkeepers at Queen's at the time, and they took me under the wings. And Davy's now actually helping Willie Gibson at Queen of the South. He's a goalie coach in there at the moment.
All right.
He was brilliant. He was amazing for me, because again, he was Scotland under 21 kind of internationalist at that point, and he just really showed me my technique and really spent some time with me to make me the goalkeeper I ended up becoming. So owe a lot to him. And sort of Trevor Wilson was a goalie coach at that point. So yeah, absolutely loved it. Again, with Queens, it was that level up. You got to go to air tournaments and big tournaments that were sort of nationally known as Scottish tournaments. So that was exciting for me as a player, as a young kid. And again, you got put out your comfort zone a little bit at that point, because you were meeting guys that weren't your friends. You were meeting these other footballers who we had boys from Glasgow, we had boys from Dumfries, all over Dumfries and Galloway. So that helped you as well. That helped me develop as a person to feel comfortable around people you were uncomfortable with at the start, and to have to build that relationship to make you a good team. And we did have a good team as Queen of the South youngsters as well. So yeah, really good memories.
How did the move to Kilmarnock come about, being for the Dumfries area?
Yeah, so again, I think it was the Ayr tournament we played in, which was well known back in the day, where like Celtic and Rangers, they used to be like Man United used to come up. There was a lot of big teams used to come up to the Ayr tournament. So I remember Kilmarnock played there, and I'm not sure we played against Kilmarnock, and it was Alan Robertson, who was the head of youth at that point, actually spoke to me about coming in and training with Kelly. So I went up there and done a few training sessions, and then I ended up signing with them under 15. So it was like I was still at school at that point. Played a season with the under 15s, loved it, really enjoyed it. There was a couple of local lads from down here I used to travel with, and I think there was three of us used to go up in the car and played with under 15s, but like Stephen Naismith was in my team at that point. So I was really good friends with him. Jamie Hamill, obviously, he's at Stranraer as a manager, so they were both kind of teammates of mine right from the under 15s and upwards. So no, it was that's how the kind of move came about, and yeah, it was brilliant. It was another level up, just the professionalism, the demands that got put on you, and that's when I kind of really knew that I wanted to be a footballer, and it was something that I was willing to sacrifice a lot of stuff for. A lot of time with my friends then had to disappear because I was training so much. You sacrificed a lot. I was travelling from Annan to Kilmarnock twice a week for training, and then again for game day as well. So again, you've got to thank the parents for taking the time to do that as well. So yeah, it's huge sacrifices that people probably don't realise that you have to make to get to where you want to be.
Could you tell how good Naismith was going to be even at that young age?
Yeah, definitely. He was brilliant. He was always like really energetic. Again, his quality was there, but again, just his work rate, his sheer work rate was something that stuck out to me a lot. Again, I got to know his family really well, his mum and his dad, just from a working class background, really, and that showed from him on the pitch, where how hard he worked, how much he wanted to be a footballer. But not for the glamorous stuff, for being a footballer, for the rewards that you get, the trophies that you win. That's why he wanted to be a footballer. And again, his work rate was incredible as a kid. Always wanted to be the best. So yeah, no, you could tell straight away that he was going to be a special talent. But again, we had a few boys that were up there and just didn't make it. Again, you think they looked really talented when they were younger, and maybe just didn't have the mentality, I would say. Because it does become hard when you go from being under 15s to then getting that step to being a full-time footballer, and then your demands, your character, how much you actually want to be a footballer needs to show as well. Your work rate, simple things like me as well. Like I think that I noticed there was boys that were really, really talented, but just didn't have that determination to take to the next level. Maybe liked the look of the lifestyle, but then didn't want to put in the hard work, didn't want to, for me, when I first turned pro, sweep the stands on a Monday. And these are all things that, again, managers like back then certainly looked at kids like how much they want it, how much will they go the extra mile. So yeah, you could tell Nazy was a super talented kid.
And what was your transition like for the youth teams at Kelly to obviously the first team?
It was big for me because I had to move away from home. I had to move from Annan to Kilmarnock at 15-year-old. Again, it was a huge learning curve for me. I was 15, almost turning 16 when I moved. I moved in with a family to start with. I didn't enjoy it. So then, thankfully, my brother was going to university. So he was like a couple of years older than me. He was 18. So when I turned 16, they then allowed me to get a flat with him in Kilmarnock, and my brother was really sensible. Fair, he wasn't a party university lad. He was very intelligent and wanted to learn. So again, it was good for me because I had him there. So it settled me a lot, but it made me grow up really quickly. Made me work hard. The transition was hard. I always remember being so tired after training. You went from training twice a week to training every single day. You were in the morning to clean the boots. You were in to sweep the changing rooms, set up the kit with the kit man. You were doing all these jobs, clean the floors after training. I remember you used to leave at 4:00, clean the toilets. Again,
doesn't happen anymore, does it?
Doesn't, and it's such a shame because you know why? Honestly, it taught me like so many good life skills, and it taught me I was really grounded from the start that You need to work hard from the bottom. And again, that reflects into, again, where my journey will go after football, that you start again. You've got to start at the bottom and build yourself up. You don't ever go from stage 1 to stage 100. You've got to go through all the steps to get there. So absolutely enjoyed cleaning the toilets as much as it just taught me the right lesson that, listen, you're at the bottom of the chain, but listen, you are cleaning the toilets next to the guy who's at the top of the chain and where you want to be. And it just, listen, there was some hard times as a kid back then, because I remember in the winter, we used to have to pull the sheets to cover the pitch for the first team. You'd get a phone call on the Friday night saying that, look, the pitch is good. There's going to be freezing tonight, so you need to run on with the sheets and cover the pitches. And there would be 10 of us there with hats, gloves, scarves, wrapped up to the maximum. And we were dragging these sheets, and they were so heavy. They were incredibly heavy across the pitch for the first team. And then you would be up at 8 o'clock in the morning to get them off for the next day so the game could go ahead. So, yeah, really, really, really old school, hard times. But as I say, I think that they're sorely missed these days, to be honest.
And talk me through your Kelly debut.
Yeah, my Kelly debut, again, my memory isn't great, mate, I'll be perfectly honest. I know it was against Motherwell, up for Park. I can remember Jim Jeffries gave me it. So, yeah, I'm sure we won the game 3-1 possibly. I'm not 100% sure on that one. It was something like that. But again, I always remember Jim Jeffries. I went on loan a couple of times, and he just basically said to me, look, bide your time. I went on loan to Queen's, and that made me really hungry to be a footballer when I went to Queen's. I got men's football in the Championship, week in, week out. It was full time, so it was very similar to Kilmarnock, but I was playing at the end of it. And I remember going back the next year, and I told him, look, I'm not going to stay because I want to play football. I want to play on a Saturday. That's what I'm paid for. And he said, look, bide your time. And then it took me a long time that season to kind of get in the team. I think it was towards the end of it was near the end of the season before he gave me my debut, or something like that. And then again, I realised that's what I want to do. I want to play on a Saturday. I want to play football. And then it was kind of Jimmy Calderwood that first gave me my real breakthrough at Kilmarnock and really stuck by me. And Kilmarnock were going through a real tough season that season as well. We were struggling. I was a young keeper, but again, I was getting 20 shots in me. I was making a lot of saves and getting a lot of plaudits for it. So that kind of made me that he stuck by me. And I've always thanked him. I was really close to Jimmy when he was a manager as well. I really liked him as a manager. Very good man manager, him and Jimmy Nicholl, really good guys. So, yeah, no, it was, as I say, I bided my time. There was an opportunity that I could have left. And I felt that time was almost there, but thankfully I did stay because obviously I would have missed all the great times I did have at Killie.
And like you said there, the plaudits and performances ended up in you getting your Scotland cap. Talk me through that? And I mean, it's a bit deep, but at that time, do you kind of think that that's for your parents, that's made it worth it for them as well?
1,000,000%. I know my dad went up to the game at Aberdeen, and again, like they're the proud moments that they want to see their son have, and it's absolutely worth it when you get moments like that. There are certain moments in your career that totally make it worth it. Every single toilet you've cleaned, these trophies that you get, these memories, the feeling you get when you win something or you excel in a game and do something special. They're the special moments that you've worked hard for, and that's where you reflect back to all the hard moments in your career. Because listen, it's never a walk in the park. There's ups and downs. There's great moments, and soon you're shot down with a hard moment that you need to deal with. And it's all about character building as well. It's really, it really is. So no, again, the Scotland cap was something that was really special. I mean, I'd been in a lot of squads. Which was special to me, just being in the squad. Listen, I was in the squad with Craig Gordon and Alan McGregor most of the time, or David Marshall. They were the three goalies that were there. So 3 unbelievably talented goalkeepers, probably 3 of the best goalkeepers that Scotland have had for a long, long time.
The best in my generation, anyway.
Absolutely. And again, I'm involved in that. So listen, I was delighted to go away with any squad and be involved in that and learn off of these guys. I wasn't one of the guys that was a third goalie that was moaning or mumping. I wanted to be there 100% because being in training with these guys, you're only going to get better yourself. So listen, to get an opportunity to play for your country is something really, really special. And even, as I say, just to be in the squads that many times was special for me. And I remember being in the squad against Spain, home and away. And you go in, and I remember the goalies for Spain were, I think it was Casillas, Valdez and Reina were their three goalies. So then I'm putting myself into perception that it's Craig Gordon and Alan McGregor and then Cammy Bell, and I'm kind of going, well, try to weigh myself up with the Spain three goalies. So listen, it's special moments and times that's really good, that'll always stick with me and I'll remember fondly.
Do you think McGregor and Gordon brought you on a lot?
Absolutely. Again, I was definitely very close to both of them. Alan was great. I always still stay in touch with him, still speak to him, and his mentality as a person, the amount of adversity he's had to go through, a lot of negative press, but the way he deals with it, his mentality is incredible. How he can, for me back in the day, it was the news of the world, be on the front page, have to play an Old Firm game that day and be man of the match. That's some mentality to have that. A lot of people would just want to be hiding with some of the stories that, again, Alan had in the front of the paper. But again, he's a top goalie, really good professional as well, on the training pitch, phenomenal. Same with Craigie as well. Craigie's very, works really hard, works hard in his game. And again, I seen Craig when he came into Rangers and trained with us when he had his knee injury. So again, I know how hard he's trained to get where he is. And he's done fantastically well. And again, he deserves everything that's coming his way. And he's been, again, phenomenal this season. So yeah, these two guys, it doesn't just happen for them. They work really hard there.
And back to Kelly, winning the League Cup, man of the match performance, not too bad, eh?
Yeah, again, listen, these are the moments that you work all your life for. That game was just incredible for me. Couldn't have went any better. I mean, obviously it's been 10 years now since it. There's been Kilmarnock have been doing 2 or 3 things. I've been up this season to do a couple of things for them. So, and then I actually watched back the highlights recently when it was the 10th anniversary for it, and even, I mean, the first save from Gary Hooper after sort of 2 or 3 minutes when Sissoko gave the ball away and it was a 1-on-1. That set the game up for me, though. It did. It set the game up for me to feel confident. Of course, I was nervous. It was my first big cup final. I'd played at Ibrox, played at Celtic Park, but not the pressure of a cup final. So yeah, it was a massive game, and again, the best game I did have in my career, and what a day to have it in a cup final. That's when you want to have them games. So, but again, probably the best save I made in my career as well was the Anthony Stokes header. Just how hard that was. The momentum was going to my right, and then to have to get down and kind of almost clawed it with 2 fingers, that managed to claw it away, and it spun round the post, and it was just one of them games that everything went for you. So yeah, again, special memories.
What's your best memory? What's your favourite memories of that, the day, and if there was a night out after it, I presume?
Yeah, aye. So again, there's no many memories of the night out, to be honest. Again, nearly falling off the open top bus on John Finney Street in Kilmarnock was one of the memories that I've got. But nah, listen, John Finney Street was incredible. The main street in Kilmarnock was absolutely packed. Like, I've never seen anything like it in my life, and that was a special moment, turning that corner to come up that big street towards the train station, and just seeing the amount of people that were there, the amount of fans and people hanging out their windows, and it was just incredible. Like really was special. But again, in the game, I think a special moment. There was a point in the second half, and nearly towards the end of the game, and I think we were 1-0 up at the time, and they had like, it was almost like a triple save. And listen, they weren't unbelievable saves, but they were saves I had to make. And then the ball pops up in the air, and I remember catching it, and then I always remember Michael Nelson coming up and kissing me on the cheek, and it just made it that moment where we both kind of knew that each other would rode the storm, and we were going to win the cup that day. So that was just a memory that will always kind of stick with me. That just, I think that relationship between me and my back four that we'd built, and it hadn't just happened overnight. There's been a lot of work on that. Was it after that game that some serious interest started to ramp up in you? Yeah, again, that obviously it did. I know a lot of people started talking. The media started talking, and there was interest. I still had like another year in my contract left, so it was kind of the next following season, sort of towards Christmas, and I was going out of contract in the summer. So as soon as I got to January, I was able to speak to other teams, and yeah, so that's when the kind of interest started. And again, my agent was working behind the scenes. I just wanted to play football. I knew that Rangers had approached. I was also due to go down and speak to Burnley at the same time. And yeah, so it was the first year for a long time they had the winter break, and I was on holiday with my missus at the time, and I didn't have any kids, so we were just on holiday. And then my agent had phoned me and says, look, we've been into Ibrox, they've offered you a deal. It's a 4-year deal. I said, right, okay. And he said, look, but you're going to speak to Burnley as well. As soon as you're back from the holidays, we're going to have you in at Ibrox. We're going to speak to, it was Charles Green at the time, and Andrew Dixon was a finance, and Ali McCoy, obviously the manager. So, and then we'll go down to Burnley. So I said, right, fine. So as soon as I came back, I went to speak to them, and then I came out of the meeting, and I'd made my mind up, to be honest. And I probably do regret not going down to Burnley, to be honest. I do a little bit. But I'd made my mind up. I wanted to play with Rangers. I was a Rangers fan as a kid. I wanted to go and do that. Something that meant a lot to me. And I know they were down the leagues. I know people will think, oh, why has he done that? Or again, it was my decision at the time. It was just the way that I got the feeling that I had an opportunity that I might never get again. So I'd say to my agents, look, I want to go and sign with Rangers. And yeah, I done it sort of kind of, I think it was February at some point. It did get leaked in the press, and it became quite a bit, it did become difficult for me at Kilmarnock, and it wasn't the way that I wanted it to end. It wasn't, Kilmarnock fans will understand now, again, if I explain the reasons. It was an opportunity to play with a club in front of 40,000 fans every week. I know they were in the lower leagues. Financially, for me, for my family, it was a huge opportunity, something that I could never turn down, and I'll never back away from that. That's something that, again, if people get offered opportunities that financially that can set them up for a long time, then you're going to take it no matter what job it is. That's a natural person trying to look after the family. So yeah, again, that played its part, but there was the opportunity to play in front of big crowds and again, to play with a team that I had supported. So it was difficult. Kenny Shields was absolutely magnificent with me. He still played me to the end of the season, wanted his best goalkeeper on the pitch. That's what he said to me. He said, I was honest with him, I went and told him, but he still wanted his best goalkeeper on the pitch. So it was great, and it was difficult because I didn't want to leave Kilmarnock. I loved them as well.
And the absolute legend, Ali McCoy. Tell me about the first meeting with him. Surely a story for that.
Yeah, so again, Ali's, he's always got a story, hasn't he? He's just he's some man. He's brilliant, great manager, great guy. Again, I just remember meeting him, and I think he was like, as soon as the meeting was finished, he's like, it's done dealing. I was like, I don't know yet. We'll see what happens. But again, he's such an infectious guy, a guy you want to be around. Really good manager as well. Just had such a hard time at listening. The club was in turmoil at that point. A lot happened, kind of even once I signed, and then the whole Charles Green thing came out. Sort of in between time, and that was really difficult for me to deal with. Going into a new club, we had signed contracts that didn't actually start until sort of September, so that we weren't getting paid for it was from June till September. There was no transfer of money, so it was a long time, and we had to, again, in the back of my head, the way that talks were going in the papers and everything, are they going to go back in administration? What's happening here? They've no money. You're then starting to doubt what's happened. You're in training with the club and you have signed, but again, there was no, as I say, officially we couldn't sign until the 1st of September. So it was really, really difficult, and quite unsettling to start with. But you just got on with it. You got your head around it and got your head down and just got on with it.
If you don't mind me asking, see that, like, you're saying that the contract, or the paying contract initially started in September.
Yep.
Would you have got that money backdated, or would that have been a case of, your contract doesn't start to September type thing?
No, it was nothing backdated. There was just everything just started from September. So again, it was just like, look, this is your contract. Your first payment is in September, and you start from then. So again, that's the way that it was set out. There was no like, oh, you're paid and you're backdated for August, June, and July, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It was just, this is it, starting from then, and that was agreed, which was absolutely fine. I was happy with that and agreed with that. But it was just there was that rumbling of, there was a lot of things happened then. Obviously, Charles Green had left the club by this point as well. So there was loads going on behind the scenes, which was a little bit unsettling again, especially when a club have just came out of administration the sort of year before and stuff. So it was just a kind of difficult period of time for the club.
And as you touched on, Rangers being in League One at that point, what was the atmosphere in the dressing room strange because of that, or?
Not really, no. Again, it was a new group. They signed a lot of players that summer. I remember doing a picture, and it was like, again, it was John Daly, Nicky Law, trying to think who else. Stephen Smith had joined, Ricky Foster. There was quite a few of us, so there was quite a lot of us that had joined that season. Listen, we knew it was going to be difficult because there's that pressure, there's that expectation of winning all these games of football easily. And listen, see, going to Stranraer on a Wednesday night when it's lashing down and it's blowing a gale, that's no easy. That's not an easy game of football. The pitch is bogging. It's a marshland. That makes it really difficult. But you've got this expectation. If you get beat, you're getting absolutely slaughtered and hammered. So that's something that you need to deal with yourself and as a team, as a group. It's a mentality thing, and that was hard that season because I think we went the season unbeaten in the league. But again, it was so mentally draining because even up when we'd won the league, there was still this expectation that you need to win the game. You can't get beat because you've got this unbeaten record coming up, and there was just this. Even though it was only League One, it was this expectation, this pressure. So again, that was something to deal with. Everyone obviously raises their games for Rangers. As I say, there's the elements of playing away from home. They were really, really tough, but again, enjoyable. I enjoyed my time. I enjoyed that season. We got the job done. We moved up a league, and yeah, it was good.
You've tied that on to the next question perfectly, mate. Winning the league, is it a relief or are you buzzing?
No, you're buzzing, but you're also relieved. I remember we had a dinner that night for Rangers, or the last game of the season. We had a dinner, and I remember sitting with John Daly and just going, I feel mentally exhausted. And we'd won the league like 5 weeks before that. It just never really, you didn't really relax because you had this unbeaten status that you were trying to keep up. You had the expectations. The fans were turning up, they'd backed you, so you want to please them. So yeah, it was. Listen, you're absolutely buzzing to win a league, any league, no matter what team you are, how easy you should win it. People expect you to win it. You're buzzing that you've won a league, and you should enjoy it. But again, it was mentally tiring as well.
And mate, I'm sorry, you've probably been asked that about 100 times, but the Motherwell playoff game. What? Yeah. How is that a career? Is that the lowest point of your career in terms of just how hard it was to take?
Yeah, listen. It was hard to take. Again, you reflect back on these things in your life, and not just in your career. I think when you look at times of adversity and really difficult periods in your career, yeah, of course it was up there. For me, when I reflect back on it now, we had lost the tie in the first leg, and I think the club wasn't in a good place. There was a lot of ups and downs. Stuart McCall had came in, and there was uncertainty whether he was staying. The board was changing again. There was chief executives were changing. There was a lot of uncertainty, and then I think we had just run out of steam that season as well. I think when we got to Motherwell, we got past Hibs, and we were exhausted as a team. A lot had happened that season. We'd got to Motherwell, and again, the first leg, I felt as if we underperformed. I remember a deflected goal went in past me. I think it hit Dan McGregor. Just things went against us in the first leg. So we're always going to struggle the second leg. And listen, I'm not taking away from the mistake. It was a bad mistake and it was a goalkeeping error. That's what it was. And it was a real tough time for me. I played through, and not just that game, the Hibs games, injured. My knee was completely done. I took injection after injection after injection for honestly probably about 3 weeks before. So right through both of the Hibs games, home and away, and both the Motherwell games, I took injections in my knee so that I couldn't feel any pain in my knee. And my knee was giving way on me and stuff. So it was I was in a real bad place. But I'd came back from my shoulder injury that season. I'd been out for 5 months and I didn't want to give up. I just genuinely didn't want to give up. So I'll never use that as an excuse. I made a mistake. That's what I've done. I made a goalkeeping error. And it was tough. I was getting married that week. So listen, 5 days later, I was getting married and I had to pick myself up. And I was in turmoil that whole week. It was the hardest week of my life. A lot of emotions, a lot of tears and stuff. But again, you learn from these things as well. So it was difficult to deal with.
You said about McGregor having to have that sort of like animal mentality. Is that when you learned that you had to have that as well? Because a lot of people would probably go under like, as human beings at that point, because the media backlash at Rangers or Celtic is unbelievable.
Yeah, no, totally. Again, you've got to, and listen, I didn't have that straight away. I was hurting. I was hurting for people around me more than myself, to be honest. You feel as if you've let people down, but you don't mean to. But again, you soon learn that, listen, you've made a mistake. It was a goalkeeping error. It's not. There was 6 goals in the whole tie, so you didn't make a mistake every one of them. And if it had been another player, I wouldn't be blaming that player for us getting beat. It's a team game. So yeah, you've got to have a strong mentality. It was hard because straight away after that, I then in the summer had to get an operation on my knee, so I was straight on the back foot from Matt Warburton coming in. I was injured for 5 months then. I had to get a microfracture done on my knee, which was quite a major surgery. And that was from when I was playing with it. I knew my knee was done, but I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to sell big games. I wasn't that type of person. And again, I'll never use that as an excuse, but that's what happened. So no, listen, you learn who the people again around you that you need around you. They're the most important people and people who are there to pick you up and make sure you're all right. And again, remind you of what you're good at. So so it was a learning curve. That's what I would say. It was a learning curve, but probably one that there's always one in everybody's life, whether you're a footballer or you're a joiner or a brickie. There's a learning curve in your life that hits you really hard and takes you to the lowest point, but you'll learn from it in the future and you'll appreciate it a little bit. I'm all right right now.
And I mean, the game went from bad to worse when Moshney punches Lee Erwin. What's going through your head at that point when you see that?
Yeah, again, it's just not what you want. Again, after what happened in the game, the whole defeat, you just want to get off the pitch. It's not what you want to see. And Bilal's got a short temper. It's not something that, again, I really don't. I don't know why he got involved in it. I think you just want to get yourself off the pitch as soon as possible. You've got to, again, say to the Motherwell players, well done for winning the game of football. But get off the pitch. Don't react to anything. Just move yourself. And it just got out of control. It wasn't good for the club. Wasn't good for him. And just put a bad light on the whole game. Really. It's not something that I want to see, because obviously I've worked with Lee, been in a club with Lee Erwin since then, so at Kilmarnock, and he's a good lad as well, Lee. So again, listen, he might have had a bit of tongue in cheek, but you need to take that on the chin sometimes. Listen, if somebody gives you a little cheeky remark, you've just got to smile and walk away. You can't react like that, like he did. It was it was too much.
After the game, when you go back in the dressing room, was that the quietest dressing room you've ever been in, or were arguments going on?
Well, it wasn't, because Bilal was smashing mirrors, and he was getting held back by about 3 or 4 people. So it was just one of them ones you're just like, look, I just want to get out of here. We want to get changed. And most people were the same. Most people just wanted to get out of the stadium, leave, and then reflect, because we were going back to Ibrox. We then got on the bus again. There was a lot went on. even on the bus, Bilal got off again and challenged Lee again off the bus, which I found very strange, and our security brought him back on. It just never ended. But anyways, we went back to Ibrox, and Stuart McCall just had a chat and thanked us all for our efforts under his tenure. And basically everyone was just bitterly disappointed with the way that it had ended. Again, deflated. Again, we'd run out of steam. We were just done as a team at that point. Really, really hard season. Everything that had went on with Coisted to Kenny McDowell to the boardroom stuff. It was a long, long, hard season.
And leaving Rangers, that a tough decision for you?
Absolutely, it was a hugely hard decision. One that I felt I needed to make, because I needed to get back playing football. More so from my knee injury, I wanted to know if I could play again. Again, I was at that stage. That was my third operation at that point on the same knee. I'd done my cruciate twice when I was younger, and then I had the microfracture. So it was a point I had to make sure I could still play football consistently. And I wasn't getting that opportunity at Rangers. I absolutely loved it. And I loved working again with the guys at Rangers. Wes Fotherland was great. He was a great goalkeeper, great guy. So again, nothing against the club. I loved the club. But it was a moment I had to make for myself, and a decision I had to say, right, do you know what? I'm going to go and make sure I can play 50, 60 games and consistently. That was the most important thing. So yeah, it was a tough time, but it was a decision I wanted to make, and Dundee United was a good option from at that point to go and play a lot of football.
I had some spells at some other clubs in Scotland. Struggled a fair bit with injuries. Did that play a part in your retirement?
Yeah. Again, it was again probably the key factor of my retirement. Again, I was feeling my knee. I needed another operation. Didn't really want to go down that route again. I was still only 34. I realised that, but also I realised I'd had 4 operations on one knee. It was going to be a 5th. Did I want that? It wasn't for me at that point, and where I was in my career as well. When you're lower leagues, it becomes more a lifestyle choice for me, that I wanted to be able to do stuff with my kids. I wanted to be able to still go to the gym, still run about, and not get a knee replacement at 40. And that was ultimately what I was facing. If I got another operation, I was getting a knee replacement at 40. So it was a decision I had to make. It was a tough one. Listen, I remember driving home after telling Ray McKinnon, who was a very close manager to me, I'd worked under him loads of times, but I went in his office and said, no, I'm done. I can't continuously do train in pain, go home in pain. It just wasn't worth it at that point for me. So yeah, it was tough. Drove home that day in tears, not knowing what I was going to do in my life, and yeah, it was hard. Again, you've done it for 18 years. Where do you go? And a lot of pros find that. A lot of pros find it really, really hard to. Probably the first couple of weeks are okay when you retire, and then you just get lost a little bit. And I remember Ray saying that he walked out Dundee for 6 months, didn't know what to do with himself when he retired as a footballer. And that's a difficulty. Something that hopefully the PFA are working on, that people have pathways when they leave football. Fortunately, I was fortunate enough that I could retire and I didn't have to work straight away. So again, that's something that I was really fortunate with. But there's other people that aren't that fortunate, and again, that players that give their heart and soul to the game and sometimes walk away, and you feel a little bit forgotten when you walk away as well. You can feel like that.
And what you're on to now, really interested in all this. Never off the telly or radio, are you? Punditry and commentary.
Base for the radio, people say, like, but
a bit harsh.
Nah, listen, I absolutely love it. I done it again. It wasn't something that I just fell into when I finished. I done it when I was playing. I took a real keen interest in it when I was playing. Absolutely loved it. And every opportunity I got when I was playing, or had an opportunity to speak to the press, I would go and do it. Some players didn't want to speak to the press. I liked speaking to the press. I enjoyed. They've got a job to do, so you want to. If they've got questions to ask you, go and be polite and answer them. So that was one thing for me, was that just be respectful to people. And I always got on really well with the media, and something that I absolutely love doing just now is talking about football, watching football, analysing football. Again, just I think if you can speak about it, present yourself well, you've got a chance in it, and it's great. I've absolutely loved every minute of it, and hopefully I continue to do it over the next few years.
And what's been your favourite part so far of doing that?
I think sort of the last 6 months has been really good for me. I've been doing loads and loads of radio. I've started to get some TV work as well, which I love. You almost get that pressure feeling again as a footballer that you're under pressure. You need to say the right things. You need to analyse the game properly. You need to speak clearly. So listen, there's that pressure side that I probably thrive on a little bit, and I've missed that. You get that from the TV side of stuff. The radio stuff's great as well. Listen, see, just going and watching football and being able to commentate on it or speak about it or put your opinion across. Listen, no, everyone won't agree with my opinion. I totally get that. But you've got to view your opinion, what you think's right and what's wrong. And sometimes that people take it personally, but it's never ever personal. It's always just your opinion. Listen, people could have had their opinion on me, and they did have their opinion on me in football, and I never ever took that personally. That's their opinion. Some people liked me as a player, some didn't. That's fine. But as a pundit, you've got to give that, and you've got to be honest. Sometimes it's hard, especially if you've played with that player or that manager, and you know them. But you need to be honest. You need to be honest and give a clear opinion of what you think of the game or the club at that time.
That's like me, mate. I'll never slaughter anybody that's been on here or that. It's just something you naturally kind of do in a way. Eh?
Yeah. It's hard. It's something that you never. I'll never slaughter somebody within getting personal to them or anything like that. It's never that. Again, it's just an opinion of how they could possibly do better. Listen, I might be wrong. They might come and challenge me, and I've had managers question me of what I've said, and that's fine. I can have a conversation with somebody because it's only an opinion. It's again, if they don't agree with it, I'm absolutely fine with that as well. They can have an opinion on what I've said, but I'm not said it personally. It'll never ever be personal. It's only about what I feel as if whether the club can change something to get better, or whether they, as a manager or a player, could do something better to be better.
How did the opportunity first come up, just out of interest, to get involved in media?
Again, just I think doing it within when I was playing. I think I got to know a lot of the guys in the media, and listen, they're great guys, great footballing guys within the media. A lot of the producers, BBC, Radio Clyde, Go Radio, all these guys are great guys. And yeah, I think just how you present yourself as a person, I think just being a good person helps as well. So I think they know what they're going to get from me. They know they're going to get a professional opinion. I'll hopefully present myself well. So yeah, it's just came about by getting to know people over the years, and again, I think you can only get better at it the more you do. You will get better at it the more you do. I've learned that myself as well. You can't, these kind of things that are really difficult to practice. But the more and more you do, and the more you speak about football, you analyse it, you do your research, you will get better at it.
You spoke about it in terms of your playing career, but starting for the start, what's the ambition? What's your ambitions?
Ambitions, media-wise, is listen. I love the media, and I would love to again progress and again get more TV slots. That's ultimately where I want to be. I want to get the TV gigs where you're on Sports Scene, you're on Sky, again consistently. That's where I want to be, and I know I've got a chain that I need to go up. I know I'm an apprentice at the moment, but I want to be a pro. I want to be a pro, and that's what I want to be. So I understand the process that you need to go through to get there, and it will take time. But yeah, you've got to have goals, you've got to have aims, you've got to have ambitions. So yeah, that's what I want to be. I want to be on the TV, speaking about football and enjoying it. Definitely, mate.
If it's all right with you, we'll finish off with the quick fire questions. So, best mate in football?
Best mate in football, Craig Bryson. Yeah, good pals with him. So, yeah, I've always stayed in touch with him and still good friends to this day.
The best stadium you've played in?
Hampden.
The best player you've played against?
Oh, tough question, that. I will go with Al McGregor.
Your biggest achievement in football?
Biggest achievement has to be League Cup for Kilmarnock 2012.
The biggest moaner that you've played with?
Oh, played with a few of them. James Fowler, very big moaner.
Your funniest teammate?
Oh, tough one. Scott Fraser at Dundee United. Funny lad.
And lastly, the best five-a-side team of players you've played with and why?
I've got to go goalkeeper Alan McGregor. Again, wins you games of football. Unbelievable shot stopper. Probably defender I would go with would be Fraser Wright. Defends for his life. Would be unbelievable. Just again, old school defender, throws his body in front of everyone. So yeah, one of the guys you want in front of you. Ahead of him, Alexei Eremenko, unbelievably talented footballer, amazing footballer. Probably one of the best that I played with. And beside him, I've got to go Craig Bryson as well. So talented as well. Again, just his engine, he can run all day, but again, his ability as well matches that. Striker-wise, you've got to go Chris Boyd. The amount of goals he scored in his career, phenomenal striker. Again, in five-a-sides, that's his game. Doesn't need to run too much, so put the ball in the back of the net.
Some teammate. Well, thanks a lot for coming on, top man. Really appreciate that.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having me, pal.